How many of you want to be great leaders? And how many of you want to be happy leaders? Well, these look like two separate questions, but they're not separate really, because if you look at great leaders, fundamentally every great leader is a happy leader. So that greatness lies in their happiness, right? And when we talk about having beautiful, happy teams, happy organizations, the culture, it actually flows from the leaders, right? So happy leaders create happy organizations, and which is why I really want to talk about happiness today in this conversation, and want to bring in a perspective around happiness. There are so many different definitions of happiness. If you see, ultimately, we all are striving for happiness. Everything that we do, everything that we strive for, the end outcome is happiness. When I want to take care of my children, because that makes me happy. When I want to provide for my family, it makes me happy. When I want to pursue a certain career, it makes me happy. When I want to earn more money so that I can buy something or live a certain lifestyle, because it makes me happy. So the end goal is happiness, and which is why it makes it critical, important, and fundamental also, I would say, to really see what is it that we are looking at when we say we want happiness. So the perspective that I want to bring in is that happiness actually stems from authentic expression. Now what that means is, let's define authentic expression first. Authentic expression is when I'm able to express my thoughts, my feelings, my opinions, perspectives, whether I agree, disagree, what matters to me, all of this in a very open manner, without holding back, unapologetically, of course, in a responsible manner. Now that is authentic expression. Immediately the question that comes in is, how are we linking authentic expression to happiness? And this is where I want you to pause and look at your life. Which are those areas where you are not expressing yourself authentically, right? Which means it could be a certain relationship, it could be your career, it could be your health, any area in your life where you're not expressing yourself authentically, where you're not showing up the way you want to show up, where you're not speaking up freely, right? You're holding back. And then go back to, how do you feel in that area? What does that area look like? And that's where I also want to bring in my story. I did my engineering, did my MBA, got into corporate. I was doing good, I was hardworking, sincere, so I was growing also. But all my corporate life, the entire journey, no matter how good the organization was, it was marked with a lot of fear. My self-expression had gone for a toss, because I was very, very conscious about, how do I need to show up? Should I say this? Should I not say this? What will people think about me? Should I walk up to my boss and tell him that this is where I need support? Or what is he going to think about me? Should I speak to that colleague and let him know my challenge? I don't know what his intention is. What is he thinking about me? My subordinates, I need to look like a good boss. So do I say this or do I hold back? So the relationships were very superficial, and the way I showed up was absolutely incongruent. It was not in harmony. Outside, I showed up as, okay, here's a confident girl, But within me, there was a turmoil, because I was not being honest to who I am, right? I was not expressing my authentic self. I wasn't saying no. I wasn't drawing my boundaries. I was people pleasing, because I always wanted to make everybody happy. I wanted people to like me. And I'm sure some of you would be able to relate with me. And it has got nothing to do with at what stage of your career you are, what age you are, right? How accomplished a leader you are. It exists at different levels of intensity, in different proportions. And I've seen so many leaders that I've worked with, dealing with inauthentic expression in their own way. personally as well as professionally. Now, as a result of all that inauthenticity, my corporate journey, my journey as a leader, and even after that, when I switched careers, got into anchoring, which was like a passion for me. I was very, very passionate about anchoring, but I managed to mess that up. I managed to feel miserable even there because it wasn't my authentic expression. It was again driven by what will people think? Am I good enough? All of those things. And that's where when I look back, I realize the joy of it all vanished. Yeah, the joy was gone. It was as if I'm supposed to do this. Okay, now what? If not this, then so when all of us, we are moving ahead in our lives, whether it's our careers, whether it is our relationships, we get into new relationships, we live with our existing relationships, all of it, while we want to experience happiness, we want to enjoy them, but we end up messing them. We suck the happiness out of them because of inauthenticity, because we are scared. We are so scared of showing up who we are. What if the other person doesn't like? And we have our own fears, our own insecurities. And I want to bring that up today because you have no idea what you're missing out on when you're not showing up as your authentic self. You have no idea what is possible when you show up as your authentic self. You step into your power. You own your voice. What is possible, right? Let's dive straight into this, right? So when I was showing inauthentically, I actually traced it back to, so the way we show up is just an action or a behavior, okay? It's just the outside, what is visible. But underneath, there's a lot going on. I'm not born inauthentic. You're not born inauthentic. We're not born with our inhibitions and fears, right? But something starts to take over and just kind of overpowers us and starts to govern how we show up. So that action and behavior, right, is actually coming from the thoughts, the feelings. How I think and how I feel is how I act, how I show up. So when I'm not speaking up, it is not a coincidence, or it's not because of the other person. It is actually me and my thoughts. And as I speak, as I talk, I want you to look into your own lives and reflect on, is this making sense? Is this resonating? So when I am not expressing myself in a certain situation or with a certain person, what kind of thoughts are going on? What kind of thoughts am I engaging with? And as a result, how am I feeling? And the kind of thoughts that I'm thinking, and as a result, how I feel, the thoughts actually come from my deep-rooted beliefs. Beliefs are my filters, my lens of viewing this world, right? So I have made a decision about things happening around me. Something happened in my life and I said, okay, this is how it is, right? Somebody behaved a certain way and I made a decision, I made a judgment, I made a lens or a filter, and this is how I'm going to view this person now. For example, if somebody came for help, asked for help, I said, okay, let me help you. And then the person turned out to be a fraud. Yeah. And for me in that moment, hey, do not financially help people because you may get cheated. Now that's a way of viewing the world that I build or I cultivate basis my experiences. Then there are certain things that I've been brought up with. I have a very strong conditioning. There are things that I pick up from environment. All of these things form my belief system. And as many forwarding beliefs as I have, which help me move forward, there are limiting beliefs as well. And these limiting beliefs hold me back. One of my limiting beliefs was, I'm not good enough, right? And I am not good enough, which I picked up somewhere in my childhood, and it was governing me all through my life. Very, very interesting when I look back. I'm not good enough kept me in a zone of I've got to prove myself, I've got to be the best, I've got to fit in. Those were my thoughts all the time, right? And as a result, whether it was my office, my work, whether it was my marriage, whether it was my in-laws, my child, friends, everywhere I wanted to be the best. I've got to be there for people. I need to make everybody happy. And I did that. I was the favorite of all teachers. I was a good student. I was the head girl of my school. I was a great daughter-in-law. I was a great daughter. Everybody would be like, wow, that's how a girl should be. I was quite good at it, right? And I carried that to wherever I went. I was pretty good, right? But within me, a lot of inauthenticity, because as a result, I wasn't speaking my heart. I wasn't saying what I wanted to say. I wasn't saying a no to what I wanted to say a no to, right? So I'm not good enough is the belief which kept giving me the thought that I need to manage. I need to show up a certain way. I need to fit in. I need to prove myself. The world cannot know I'm not good enough. And therefore, my actions were very, very, guarded. Should I speak? Should I hold back? What if they don't like? What if they think I'm not intelligent? Oh, this is such a stupid question that Aastha has brought up. Interestingly, I would get into meetings and come out of the meetings without speaking a word. Very painful, because not that I didn't have ideas, not that I had nothing to speak about, but my belief and as a result my thoughts kept me from speaking up. I would not speak. Yeah. And therefore my actions, my behaviors were all of these, and hence the results were what they were. On the outside it all looked beautiful, hunky-dory, oh she's accomplishing, but I knew within me it was always anxiety, it was a lot of stress, it was a lot of pain and a suppressed self-expression. Yeah. And as we know, the more I kept running this, the more I kept doing this and redoing this, I kept strengthening this within me. Every time I created an evidence for myself that, hey Aastha, see, you're not good enough. You didn't do it yet again. Yeah. Why am I sharing this with you? Because number one, whatever I was creating out there, I was creating something, and by the standards of a lot of people, it was great. However, there was no joy in it because there was constant fear. Constant fear. Fear is not bad, but when fear overpowers and fear takes away, doesn't serve me, wasn't serving me. And also, it wasn't my 100%. Right? So nowhere could I bring my energy, my 100%. It was always very guarded. It was always very, oh, should I do this? Should I not do? Oh, this much is enough, So it wasn't like a free flow. Yeah. And as we all navigate that, we all go through that in bits and pieces, but the bigger thing here is we lose out on this, becomes a habit. Inauthenticity becomes a habit, and inauthenticity leaves us powerless. Wherever there is inauthenticity, power is gone. And when there's no power, I cannot be great, whether a great leader, a great husband, wife, parent, child, sibling, cannot be. And the relationships cannot be beautiful, powerful, deep, meaningful unless there is authenticity, there is transparency there. Yeah. So what does it really involve, right? Now, if you're able to see that, then let me tell you, there is this belief system which is at play. There are limiting beliefs which may be holding you back. Of course, they come from your childhood, they come from your environment, they come from your experiences. Doesn't make you bad. So the first underlying thing is, if you're not expressing authentically, if you shy away, if you hold back, as painful as it is, right? As painful as it is, it does not mean, it doesn't equal to you being less capable, you being not competent, right? Or you being less intentional. No, right? It's just that either I'm not even aware, I take it as a natural thing. Well, no, it's not natural. You're not born like that. As children, we were all self-expressed. We were all like running around and jumping around and dancing. Wasn't that authentic expression? We would cry for whatever we wanted, and we would not have it any other way. That was authenticity, right? So we kept doing whatever we wanted to. So that's our inherent nature. That's who we are at the core. Nothing has changed within. But layers and layers of beliefs. Oh, this is how you're supposed to behave. This is how you're supposed to be. Don't say this. In relationship, girls need to be quiet. Men should be this. If men cry, then they'll be weak. If men say, then they're going to be weak. Men need to be solid. Men need to take responsibility. Women. There is so much out there. And that takes away our authenticity. That takes away our power. That takes away that zeal that we all carry. So, all of that authentic expression of yours, that happiness is right there inside you. It's just there. It's not something to get from outside. It's not something that you will derive from somewhere. It's right there because we were born with it. That's my natural state of being. But yes, it is hidden, underneath all of those beliefs, all of that conditioning, all of that we've grown up with. Now what do I do? Because there's nothing wrong with this. I can go on living with this. It's a choice that you make. For me, I didn't want to live with it all my life because it got very painful, right? To hold back, to not express myself, to just show up as some version or trying to be somebody else. No, didn't work. It's very painful, isn't it? And a lot of people, they come, live like this, and they go away. So there's nothing wrong with it. But if you make that choice that I want to be my authentic version, I want to live authentically, unapologetically, uninhibitedly, then I would invite you to get intentional about it. And what that means is, there's a core framework of authentic expression that I want to present to you in a very broad way, not getting into the depth of it right now, but core, C-O-R-E, right? When I want to step into my authentic expression, like just explore more and more. I am who I am authentic already, but when I want to step into it more and more, I start with C, which is clarity of self. Okay, so the first one in the core framework of authentic expression is clarity of self. Now what that means is I first understand who I am, what matters to me, what is holding me back. Because unless I know myself, unless I'm aware of what's happening here, just the way I realized or I identified that I am not good enough was a recurring, dominant, limiting belief for me that was governing my life. But till the time I didn't know, I had no idea, no awareness, it just kept governing. It was subconsciously happening. I was in auto mode. Only when I'm aware can I do something about it. So the first thing is I get clarity about myself, right? Once I have the clarity, that's when I can move forward. That is when I can start to own my emotions. Yeah, it is like I know, I see it, I accept my emotions just the way they are, and I express them with maturity. Like I'm not hiding them, I'm not discarding them, this is what it is. So I cannot change my emotions, I cannot shift to a more empowering way unless and until I accept it, unless and until I see it, I sit with it, right? So that's the second part of it, of the framework, where I just own it. I own my emotions. This is what it is. The third one, R, is real communication. Now when I have idea about how things are, I have clarity around it, I'm owning my emotions and I'm expressing it with maturity. That's when real communication comes in, which means with complete honesty, with complete authenticity, I say whatever I want to say with responsibility, right? So I do not beat around the bush. I do not try and sugarcoat it. I say what I want to say in a responsible way, right? And that is where power lies. That's where your relationships are very, very powerful. Yeah, that's where you actually step into your power, right? How many of you are sensing right now that, oh yeah, this is missing, this is where the pain is. Yeah. And then comes the final one, E, within the core framework, and that is embodiment. Right. So it's not just a mental game, it's not just about mindset, it's about walking the talk. I live what I say. So it's embodied there, it's there in every cell of me. Now that's a journey. When I learn about it and I start to own my emotions and express them in a responsible way, and then have the real communication just the way it is, and I embody all of that, like it just becomes a part of me. And that's the journey, or that's the cycle of authentic expression. That's how you can step from inauthenticity, completely unaware, to the authentic expression, right? So this is a framework that typically helps. This is like a process which will help you step into your authenticity. And what I would also say, it's a great place to start being your authentic self is awareness. Yeah. What do I mean by awareness? To get present to what is happening within me, not just at the level of mind, even the level of body. So a certain interaction with a certain individual or a certain kind of situation, what kind of thoughts does that generate? Right in that moment, can I get aware, oh, this is what's happening right now? What kind of an emotion is emerging? Oh, I'm feeling angry right now as I talk to this person, and whatever he or she is saying, I see anger, I feel anger surging there. Or right now I just feel very sad that this is happening. Getting present to what is happening, aware. So start with awareness, right? Once you're aware, there's this other framework that I always talk about, that's like a quick ready reckoner, a 4A framework, where the first step is awareness, like I just mentioned. Once I'm aware of what is happening, what kind of a sensation is happening in my body, how do I know that I'm sad? How do I know that I'm angry? Or I feel a certain sensation in my chest. There's a burning sensation in my gut, right? Or there's pain here in my shoulders. What is happening in my body, right? Awareness. The second A is acceptance. So once I'm aware of what is happening, can I accept it? Acceptance doesn't mean agreeing to it. It's not about right or wrong. This is happening, can I be okay with it? Because only when I'm okay with it, can I do something about it, right? So once I'm aware, I've accepted, okay, right now this is happening, that's fine. Can I stop resisting it and accepting it? Once I accept it, the third A is analysis, right? What is giving me this emotion? Where is this emotion coming from, right? So when I sense that, oh, I'm feeling anxious right now, okay, where is this anxiety coming from? Or right now I'm feeling angry, okay, great. Is this anger coming from my belief? Because I feel whatever he's saying makes me feel I'm not good enough. It's triggered my limiting belief. Or I feel angry because I feel the boundary is being crossed. I have told this person multiple times, do not do this, and yet again the person is doing this, and therefore I am feeling angry. The analysis helps me identify the source of it. Now, if it is my belief getting triggered and therefore I am behaving the same way that I do every single time, that's a different outcome. That's analysis one. But if it is my boundary being crossed, question of self-respect, then it's going to be a different outcome, right? Basis the analysis, then the fourth A comes in, and that is alternative choice, right? So maybe I'm so used to, I have a learned behavior and I'm so used to behaving a certain way. Now after the analysis, since I'm so aware and present right now, I have a choice to behave, or rather act in a different way. Every time my belief gets triggered, I get angry. But now that I see, okay, my belief has gotten triggered, and now I have a choice. Do I want to get angry? Or maybe I just want to express to the person, hey, can we talk about this later? Right? Or maybe let him know, hey, you know what? I just feel a little angry. can we do XYZ? Now that could be an alternative choice. Or my boundary is being crossed and therefore I'm feeling angry. Maybe it's time for me to speak up and I make my choice. Yeah. Now this 4A, which is awareness, acceptance, analysis, and then alternative choice, is like a quick one, which obviously comes, keeps getting better with practice, because awareness in itself is a big one, right? But as I keep going through this journey of getting aware, what are my beliefs, what's holding me back, not discarding any of it, because the more triggers, more information, it's all good data for me. The more I know myself better, the more I can work on it, the more I can see, okay, where is it coming from, right? And I can do something about it, because the battle is not about right or wrong. I'm not in the game of proving somebody right or wrong. I am here, to show up as my 100%. I'm here to express my higher potential, isn't it? That is what makes me happy. And believe me, I still am on that journey where I'm expressing myself more and more, higher and higher, truer and truer with each day. I am becoming that version of me, which can serve that higher purpose that I'm here for. Each one of us is, right? But a lot of times, and the source or the way to serve that purpose could be different. For some, it could be in a corporate job. For some, it could be their businesses. Some, it could be some kind of a service, whatever it is. But for me to enjoy, to be my 100%, and then to create more such people. Because when, as a leader, I am in touch with my feelings, I am authentic, I am expressing openly, then I am giving permission to other people in my family, at my work, my team. I'm giving them permission that, hey, you do the same. I'm creating an open space. And that is where beautiful, happy, and authentic relations are created, where we're not saying that let's put up with any nonsense, keep each other happy. No, we're open, we say what we want to say, but we're there for each other. That safety comes from that authenticity, right? And when you can step into that, you actually speak freely, you lead boldly, and you live authentically. And that is extremely important, because your USP is you, your uniqueness, and you can express that only when you start stepping into that authenticity, when you just don't hold back. It's a journey, it's not an overnight transformation, but trust me, it's every bit worth it. And don't believe it because I'm saying it, right? Go, reflect, spend some time, look at what you're up to in life, right? If it matters, if it makes sense, get going. If it doesn't, life is anyway happening. Take care. Love you all. Bye-bye.